Hey, well, you're like, hey, Eric Zane, what are you doing? You're doing another podcast. You got a guest. And, I guess technically I'm supposed to just bring him in, but he's in there with me right now. This, ladies and gentlemen, is Jason Duflo. And he is the man who created Cornhole America, one of my great sponsors it's right off, it's right here. In fact, I'll get the sign ready to go. This is the sign. I should have had this like ready to go. But of course, my amazing sponsor, part of the Eric Zane Show podcast. So,
you're showing the Eric Zane boards.
Yeah, the Eric Zane boards were great. What did you think when I sent you the picture for the Eric Zane boards with me and my all bent over?
Well, it's not the first time I've seen something like that, but usually it's the gentleman asking for a different kind of rear end at the hole.
So have you had to do things that are rated PG-17 or NC-17 or rated R before? Have you had to make those?
We have to, but we chose to. We do have some younger kids that work for us sometimes, so some of the stuff was just hidden from some of our employees, and like, hey, this one's not for you, Jesse.
Holy cow! Well, one of the things I wanted to do was talk to you. Well, first of all, I have you on the podcast, and thank you for being a sponsor of the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This has been a really exciting time in my world, and I love to share it.
And there's a lot of stuff that I want to touch on, but I think the best way to start this is have you, in your own words, describe to the audience how this all started, please.
It was an accident for me. I play softball, so I was invited over to a buddy's house, and he lived right next to the field. So we had a late game, and we were just going to do a cookout. And one of our subs that was subbing that day brought these boards over, and so we were all just in his backyard grilling and drinking some beer. And I kept looking at these boards, going, "This is just 2x4s and plywood and some corn bags." So I said, I'm going to make one of these. And the guy I was standing next to goes, well, make me a set too. So I made a couple. And then he put them in his backyard. And all of a sudden, 4 of his friends called me. And then I made 4 more sets. And then 16 people called me. And then I made those 16. And then 64 people called me. So it just spread, multiplied like rabbits.
Now, this is what year do you think this is?
This is around 2006.
Okay. So when you started making these, you were doing everything by hand, right? It was
hand painting. I didn't have anything to do stencils. It was pretty much paint them solid colors with some stripes. I would try to, hand paint a Red Wings emblem on there, or Detroit Old English D or something like that. It didn't take very long, and then somebody's like, you should get a vinyl machine. So we bought a vinyl machine. I kind of taught myself how to use that. Started doing some better designs. We ended up doing a fundraiser for, Officer Kosminski was the officer that was killed in Grand Rapids. We did a fundraiser where we made about 10 sets of boards for some businesses to help raise some money for the family. And then it just took off from there. Once I got that vinyl cutter, and then, it was spreading. I started advertising on Craigslist at first, got on Etsy a little bit. I was on eBay a little bit. Didn't care what we made. We just made them for everybody.
How long into this before you were like, okay, I think this can be my primary, like this is my job? How long did that take?
It's actually kind of a cool story because my mom, and I know she's going to see this at some point. She actually said to me, "Don't quit your day job. This is just a fad," But I was going into work, and I was trying to find any excuse I could to leave work so that I could go home and work on these because the orders were building up. And at one point, my boss said, "You have to make a decision here." And I said, "Okay, thank you." And I just made the decision to leave my job. And I had more than enough work coming in, and I could see the path it was on. And but my mom did say this is just a fad. And so I remind her all the time now when she drives by the shop. She drives from Sparta to Cedar Springs, Meyer. So she has to drive by my shop, and she sees it. And I've been teasing her for a while that we're going to put a sign up there that says this is not just a fad.
Yeah, I think that's hard for a person who takes this leap of faith, and I think that says something about you when you're like, I mean, people are close to me are saying, no, don't do this, but I don't think so. I think I'm going to ignore you and I am going to keep doing this no matter what. It's now when I hear you talk about it, I keep hearing all these exponentially increasing stories of orders coming in. Were there ever times where you're like, oh boy, maybe I made a mistake?
No, no, there hasn't yet. It gets a little slow in January and February, and for the first few years it was just me. So I'd have some friends or something that I'd pay somebody some cash to help out during busier seasons. But we were so busy around Christmas time that I was making enough money to get through January, February, and March. And so, I would spend that time to work on the website, do more designs. The designs, I'm trying to reach everybody with a design. A design that somebody sees it and goes, oh, that's me. I got to have that. So I would spend a slow time building that, and then we got to a point where then I could keep an employee through the winter. This year we had 3 employees through the winter, and then as the sport's been growing, we've been doing fundraisers for schools. So my daughter was a senior at Rockford, and we ran a Rockford Sports Boosters tournament. We raised, I think, the first year maybe $16,000 in one cornhole event that went right to their Sports Boosters program. So we started finding different ways to stay busy in January, February, running events, reaching out to businesses. I have yet to pick up a phone and actually call and do any cold calling and try to sell these. These orders come in
right.
Word of mouth, just people that have seen the boards out there and know of us in the community. We've done stuff with some senior all-nighter fundraisers. We get asked all the time to do stuff for people, but we'll try to stick with some of the nonprofits that we're actually using our resources for. We try to help people that are running other events, and then we run a lot of fun events in town. So I know one of your sponsors, Pepinos. They sponsor my softball team as well, and we've been doing a cornhole tournament down there in their parking lot for the last few years. And this year we're looking at shutting the street down on Ione Street with the new hotel that's down there, and then what's the studio center there?
Studio Park.
Yeah, Studio Park.
Can you take me through these? Because people will hear you say, because there's always somebody who's looking to do something fun to raise money for a school or church or something terrible befalls somebody and the community kind of rallies around. They're always looking for those types of fun events, and that's where you kind of fit into that. Can you tell me how that works? Because someone who's listening to this might actually have their ears might be perking up just
I get a million calls.
Yeah. How does that how does that work?
It's really neat. Well, I mean, it's not as easy as everybody thinks, but it's creating an event. It's getting some cornhole boards together. We run a little, usually it's a blind draw or a bring your own partner tournament where it's a double elimination and you get teams that want to participate. There's usually some prize money offered, but we charge them to participate, and we give a percentage of that back in prize money. The rest of that will go to whatever costs there were, and then to the fundraiser. But once you get people together, then there's a million different things you can do to raise money. So there's one this weekend up north for a girl that I think she had a stroke, and the community came around and is just donated all kinds of things to raffle. But now you have this cornhole event too that's bringing all these people in that are going to be doing the raffling or bidding on these things. So they do really well at raising money that way. But it's just getting a bunch of people together.
Yeah.
And what's cool about it is you don't have to be a pro to go and have a great time at these events. And from what I'm seeing, I'm out in Iowa right now. We're getting ready for a big event. We went last night and played with a group of maybe 20 other people that they do this every single day, or not every single day, every Wednesday of every week. They get together, and it's kind of becoming a cornhole family. There's nobody's kind of left behind.
Right, man. So basically then, no matter the organization or the cause, if they just reach out to you, you can explain to them how it works, and they're going to have a fun event. People are going to get together with a goal in mind. People will sign up. They'll get a little bit of money if they win, and then the benefactor gets a pile of cash too. And for you, you're making the boards for this whole event, right?
Yeah, they all run a little bit different. I mean, we do get some smaller ones. Somebody was just in a car accident, and there's some that we can't do all of them. So we try to help any way we can. I've got boards stacked to the ceiling. We've seen that. We'll let people borrow some boards. We'll rent some boards. We have a couple different guys that can come and help run an event. So we don't do it all for free. I mean, our time is very valuable. Sure. But we try to make it win-win situations for everybody involved. Venues is a really big thing. We've been down at Vandermill for the last 8 weeks, I think, on Tuesdays and Thursday nights. We're bringing 60 people in there. They have a really nice event space down there, and we're getting 60 people in there that wouldn't be in there.
Right.
And coming out of all these COVID restrictions, some of these businesses are hurting. We've been up to Howard City, to the bowling alley, ran like an 80 or 90 team tournament up there because he was about ready to close his doors, the bowling alley. So, we just try to help boost. It's just a good way to help people.
Wow.
It's fun.
That would be Don Veltman. I know Don.
Yes.
Yeah, I know Don very well. He was the very, very first person on this current incarnation of my podcast who reached out to me. And so he's been on the show too for extended. And yeah, you're right. He had been through the ringer with because his business is getting people together, and that was very, very difficult.
The whole community rallied around Don up there. It was awesome.
He's a good man. He's a great guy. Everybody loves Don. There's definitely no doubt about that. Okay, so now you're watching this business grow. You go from doing this in your own personal barn with your own tools to now you have I guess they're called CNC machines?
Yeah, it's a CNC router table. So it's about a 4x8 bed. It's got a vacuum table, so you put a sheet of plywood on it, sucks it right down, and then you program where you want this machine to cut. So everything that is cut now is cut by a machine. And we take those parts and sand them and, assemble them, put the graphics on them, finish them up, and box them up. So pretty much all the boards are machine cut now. It used to be hand cut. And, one of my biggest concerns with growing was, I'd hire somebody and they'd cut their finger off on one of my table saws, So it's super safe. We've got a lot of money invested into it. We actually just got a new machine the other day, which is it's a CNC. Basically, it's a computer. You put a program in. I'm not great with these things yet. I didn't go to school with them, but I'm learning. I have some people that help me out with it. But you create a computer program, and the machine does what you tell it to. So we just bought one that's a laser. It's you can etch our logo on the wood now. We can do some really cool burn designs, but it cuts wood. It cuts acrylic. It does all kinds of neat things. And then another CNC machine we're getting is a sewing machine, and this will sew 3 sets of cornhole bags. So 3 sets of cornhole bags in about 5 minutes by itself. So no more zooming.
Yeah, it's funny because when I went to your operation, you have a sewing machine and you're making the bags yourself, and so I got the tour of all of this. I see the machines doing this. Now you've added a machine. I see you have a staff who are assembling. You have boxers. You have that young man who works with your IT and stuff like that. You put all these people to work. You've got two different types of materials that go inside of the bags. Actual corn can go inside of the bag, or a synthetic material. It all depends on what the customer wants. And then I find out that you actually are very, very good at actually throwing the bags too. So you spend it like you're doing right now. You're playing with professionals. You told me you played against the number 1 player in Iowa yesterday. Is that right?
Yeah, we showed up at this little building last night, and there was about 20 people. But the one kid I didn't know him before. Jalen is his name. I've never met him before, but the other guys that I'm with, they know him pretty well. And we started playing with him and his partner in a match, and his partner, I was throwing against his partner, and he said, he's actually the number 1 player in Iowa right now. And we put up a heck of a game, the first game, and then it was in the winner's bracket side of the bracket, it was best 2 out of 3. And they beat us both those games, knocked us in the loser's bracket, and we went all the way through the loser's bracket, and we had to face them in the finals, and then we whooped them 21-2. And so I was feeling pretty good about that, but we didn't beat them twice, and it was just a little bit too much. But we're going to an American Cornhole League Open. It's the American Cornhole League's basically the well-known organization nationwide, and so there's one. It's in Illinois, so we're on the other side of the Mississippi, and that's this weekend. And you'll see, there'll be some of the top players in the country here And it's really cool because when I see the top players on ESPN, I know most of these guys, one way or another. I recognize a lot of people. Detroit is actually very strong with some of the professional players. So Michigan has a very, very strong player list.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you getting orders from all around the world?
No, we stick to just the United States.
Okay.
Shipping is expensive, and especially now with COVID, they tightened up some of the restrictions. So even to ship to Hawaii, which I've done before, or Alaska, it gets really costly. It's not cost effective for customers really. So pretty much the mainland here, even crossing the border gets really expensive. Because pretty much just the United States, but yeah. I actually get the orders through our website, and my phone will ting when an order comes through. So, all hours of the day, it's always interesting to see. I wish I was had one of those maps where I could just put little pins on and see where the orders came from. And see, but all over.
Now you don't have to say who, but have you ever gotten an order and said, "Holy shit, I'm sending this to somebody really famous"?
Yeah. Yep. Lots of guys. I have done some for some NASCAR drivers. I'm going to say Jimmy Johnson, baby. He's
nice.
I'm not a big NASCAR guy, but Jimmy Johnson won that 7th title, and one of his friends got him a custom set of boards, got his crew chief a set of boards. That was so cool.
Wow.
Jake Long, number 1 draft pick out of Michigan, did a set of boards for him for his for Christmas. His wife ordered it for him for Christmas. And I've done some for the governor, previous governor. Some Blue Angel pilots, that is near and dear to my heart. I love those guys, and trying to think of some other ones. But yeah, every once in a while we get somebody famous.
Did you say the current governor and the previous governor?
No, not the current governor. I don't know that.
I was going to say, if she was going to do a set of boards, it'd be like her giving everybody the finger.
I don't like to get political, but no, not.
Yeah, I know. I always mix it up with the Patriots, and you've seen some of the fights that I've picked. You've seen you've seen my handiwork. Okay, Jason. As you can tell, I'm really, I don't know. Whenever I hear about the story of the guy who he sees something on the ground, he's playing, doesn't even know what this is practically. And now he has this business. It's kind of like the whole American dream thing. What was in your brain is now being has all these customers throughout the country. It's really fantastic.
It's a complete accident. Believe me, every day I look at what's going on around my life and go, wow, how did I get here? This is really cool. So, I love what I do. I'm having so much fun. It offers so many opportunities. I have my son out here with me now, he's 16, and this kid can throw a bag in the hole too. And so it opens up his whole world too. He's got people that know he's my son. They treat him really well. So for his confidence is skyrocketing. He's actually getting a little cocky, but so for that to happen, for when we do events, it'll be my wife will come there. Sometimes she'll run the microphone. She was probably not the first person that wanted to pick up a microphone, but you give her a microphone now, she's belting out instructions.
Wow. So, I tell you what, it seems like there's a pattern with you and your better half and your son. There's a lot of no fear involved, and I tell you what, you get out of your comfort zone and great things happen. That's really fantastic.
It didn't happen overnight. It was gradual, and I think it's just where it's become now. So it's I'm well known in the area. I'm well known in the state for sure. With Cornhole, I think our operation is probably one of the larger ones in the state, but it's certainly not one of the larger ones in the country. There's some organizations that have some great. Or some businesses that have some great, they have licensing deals with, the NCAA and stuff like that kick out a lot of cornhole boards too. We were in one in Orlando, when my wife and I were down there and went and visited, and we pulled up to the building. There was like 5 or 6 semi trucks backed up there just getting boards loaded in there. So cornhole is explosive, and so I think we can do as much as we want to. We choose to kind of build boards, be part of the community, run events. Do as much as we can. I'm actually working with a couple other guys. We're starting a Michigan Cornhole League, so it's a lot like the American Cornhole League, but it's just based in Michigan. It's more about these clubs. And some people that have never heard of cornhole, you'd be surprised that they're around you. They're all over the place.
Right.
People are playing, there might be 30 people in somebody's pole barn on a Friday night, but they're all over the place. So we're kind of organizing them into a Michigan Cornhole League where they're able to get some points and then and see how they rank against other players. And then what's really nice is introducing other players to other people because they develop friendships and relationships. I'm here with 10 guys in this. We got an Airbnb out in Iowa. I think we have about 30 that are going to be out here though this weekend, and we're basically a family. And that's what's
I believe it.
really cool about it. So,
so you said licensing deal. So does that mean that someone, if they say to you, "Hey, will you put this logo on?" you can't do it?
Not by law.
Okay, I want to make sure because I've said many times, you can get this logo put onto a set of boards.
I'm not saying I wouldn't do that.
I know that you can't.
A disclaimer that says, we'll just assume that whatever picture you send us, you have the rights to, and we'll put it on a board. So.
Okay, gotcha. Wink, wink. Okay, yeah. Because and that's good to know. So, but you do have a licensing agreement with the Griffins, I think, isn't that right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I don't know if that's still done, but we did. We did a whole bunch of boards for the Griffins one year, and I got some licensing agreements with some different artists and stuff. But that was actually the scariest part for me is when we realized that we have to make a legitimate business. Going from a garage to a legitimate business, and you can't do the licensing stuff the way that we did. I've been kicked off eBay because I was posting, Red Wing stuff or something like that.
Gotcha.
So I had to create a library of images that weren't licensed to advertise on a website. Like if I had those things on our website and those entities didn't like it, they could have it removed.
Excellent. Let's see. Cornholeamerica.com is the website, as you can see right there. In fact, if people just order the set of boards with Cornhole America on it, how much does that go for again? People
a little bit cheaper. I think those are $160 for a set. It's got our logo and our glue guy. If you show that logo again, the guy that's on top is our mascot. He's not necessarily our logo, but that is we had a contest to name him. We did a little reverse work with it. We made our player a Cornhole board. So I'm envisioning getting a costume made, like one of the mascots made, so we can just walk around. Somebody can walk around in him at a cornhole tournament. I think that'd be funny. But we had a contest and named him Ace and gave a couple cornhole boards away. There's the Eric Zane ones.
Yes. Yes, you can see what that is all about. That's
somebody bought one. I think it's a friend of yours.
Yeah, Rick from TC Paintball bought a set. I'm still looking for somebody to buy another set of those. Those will run you about $210.
Yeah, I think $219.
$219. All right. So yeah.
So and it's we've been keeping our prices as low as we can. Wood is skyrocketing right now due to the pandemic, and we actually bought enough wood inventory to get us through for a while. So we're kind of hoping we don't have to raise prices. Yeah. I think we're going to be okay. We got you saw my shop. We got a couple of semi-truck loads of wood in there right now. So
and it's important to note that if you go walking through Meijer or Walmart, you will find boards there, and you're going to spend about $40 or $50, and after the party ends, the boards will be in pieces. Okay, they just don't hold up, or somebody's going to do something and step on it and put a foot through it or something like that. That is not the case with your boards because of the materials.
Quality is a very, very important thing when it comes to this. And even some of my boards are scrutinized by some of the top level players as far as, this has a bounce, 3/4 of the way up. If I land right there, it bounces 1 inch in the air. So, everybody will scrutinize a cornhole board, but what you're seeing in the retail is basically stuff that's plastic, really thin wood. It's not designed for the top level players at all. It's just designed to get something in the hand of beginners. So it doesn't take very long for those people, if they get addicted to the game, which is what happens to most people, to start looking for some better equipment, and then that's where they typically are finding us. Or the campers, tailgaters. That some of those guys will start with those just to kind of set it up at their campground and have it, and then it doesn't take long. Like, hey, we saw this other guy that had some boards like yours, and we got to have those now.
Yeah. Wait, what the heck was I going to say? Oh, and you talk about these specs of the board. So the way it slides. These are all things that when you talk about the pros, they can play on your boards because they're set up to the same quality standards as any type of sanctioned events boards, correct?
Yeah, they created a standard. I mean, there's kind of been a loose standard for the last years. The Cornhole's been around a long time. I don't even know where it was invented. It's early 1900s, some people will say. But the American Cornhole Organization, American Cornhole League, came out and really put some standards in place. And, to the specifications, like how far the front of that board has to be off the ground, how far the back has to be, where that hole has to be. They give you a couple variances, maybe a quarter of an inch, because the intention is to be able to make a set of boards using a sheet of plywood. So a sheet of plywood is 4 foot by 8 foot. Once you cut it in half with a saw blade, you're not going to be completely at 2 foot and 4 foot to make 2 sets. So you're going to lose that saw blade. So they give you a little bit of variances there, but how to finish them, what kind of wood it is, what way the grain is supposed to go. And then, then in the bags, the equipment there too, that is a whole nother monster right now. Bags have to have an ACL stamp to play in this American Cornhole League. There are people that are paying $300 to $400 for 4 bags right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember you describing that what is in the bag and how the bag is made. It has a standard because some of these guys have the ability to roll a bag on its edge. Didn't you say that? And actually go around the hole? They can throw it.
Last night. These guys, they spend a lot of time throwing bags. And throwing bags is a lot of muscle memory. So, you might start off not being very good, but the more you practice it, the more you play it, the more you're going to continue to do. You're going to tweak it and do the good things, then keep doing them over and over. These guys can steer bags. These guys can take a bag that's off to the right side of a hole and grab it with the other bag and bring it in because they're steering it. This is a flop shot right now that I just got introduced to it down in Florida a couple weeks ago. But they throw this bag so the tail end is like this, and when that tail end hits, it will roll, and it's a game changer. It's for the serious players that play. It's a lot like chess, and you're playing for position, and you want your bags to get in the hole, and you want to keep the other ones out. So there's different terms. There's a blocker bag where I might throw a bag to try to block this hole, and these guys now, instead of my bag blocking it, will flop over it, and then they're just gaining position. So it's kind of a new thing, but you got this square piece of material with stuff in it, and they can steer it. So it's amazing.
I remember you describing because you got somebody who does put that one right at the mouth of the hole.
That's my move.
Because the theory is, well, if anybody hits me, they're going to knock me in the hole. Yeah, so it's a defensive maneuver, but at the same time, it can get you some points out of it. When you described that exact thing, well, they're going to bounce it over your bag.
Yeah,
it's remarkable.
Take your position away.
Yeah. Okay, well, man, that's great. I'm glad that you're out there doing what you love. I like I said, I wanted to share you with the audience, and just direct them that if they want to support the show, they support you, and they get a great product out of it. So I'm just happy that we're partnered up, and I just wanted to share that with the audience and say hi to you and wish you luck on the rest of your tournament. I hope you do well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been great. I'm looking forward to our continued partnership. I got to get you out there commentating some of these matches.
Oh, I want to. I want to see that because that's the type of thing that's like my environment. I love competition and talking about it and cracking jokes and making it a fun event. So you got to let me know, and I'll commit. So
we're gonna do one where we set up a main stage and we're gonna do some videoing of it. You're gonna see a lot of there's streaming and podcasts going on, but we're gonna set up a main stage and we have to get some of the lingo there. But I'm envisioning you with the Grand Rapids Griffins getting ready to screen.
Oh yeah. You let me know if I'm free. I'm there. If I am free, I am there.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, Jason. I'll talk to you down the road. All right, buddy.
All right. Thanks a lot, Eric. We'll talk to you.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks, everybody.